us on Wolf Spirit Radio, Ever Beyond Radio, and Studio 9 Jam on YouTube. With your host, Jessica Ariel Morocco, featuring JP as the voice of Andronicus. Please visit www.readingsbyrael.com. That's A-R-A-E-L.
We came from the future by way of the past. I bought my ticket for the 15th century. We started moving through a hole in history.
You're listening to Wolf Spirit Radio.
Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us today. We're a tad bit late today, and sorry about that. But sometimes things happen in the universe. We have no control over them, and people come in and they want to have a conversation, and sometimes the conversation is necessary, and maybe it's a bit unscheduled, but I never said I completely conformed to any said system whatsoever.
And of course, actually, Jess, sometimes it's nice to have a 90-minute show to drop in to fill in a particular size gap. So so it's quite nice to have the odd short show, especially, these are always lovely shows to put on because there's so much variety in answers from the universe. So yeah, please go ahead. Thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you, JP, for being here. And, it's funny because I was going to invite this person and that person to come on the show and just be a part of what we're doing. And different things happened. So I always go with the flow, and I understand that everything's for a certain purpose. And some people say, well, some people are in agreement with that, to go with the flow, and others feel that you should be more scheduled. And, regardless, the show must go on. And in this format, I'm grateful that it is not so rigid. And JP, thank you for here at Wolf Spirit understanding. And I hope those listening that are in the chat room, I'm sorry if you were waiting for the show to come on. Then apologize, but we are here now. And for those that will hear us on YouTube, will say, oh, well, we can't tell the difference anyhow. So that all works out. I had a very interesting conversation with someone came through, and they were calling themselves the Gorgons, the Gorgonites. And I'm like, isn't that like some kind of cartoon or some name from some movie or whatever? But I heard the name. I started talking to them. It was in relationship to a client or someone that I was working with at the time. And what I discovered was they were actually Titans. And this was another name that they went by. So maybe it was at another time period. And it wasn't our typical friends, JP. It wasn't Borkum. It wasn't Kid Triton. It wasn't any of them. It was a whole other group.
Well, I've just Googled Gorgon, and the three sisters, Theno, Euryale, and Medusa. We're familiar with Medusa, but they all had the heads, the snaky heads. And did they have snaky heads and stuff?
Not that I knew. They were actually dressed very futuristic looking. They had some kind of silver suits, like space suits on, and blue, and I don't know. I was like, well, I don't know who this is. And their voices were different. And I talked to one of my friends about that, and I said that they had these like very deep, echoey voices, and they said, well, they were probably giants. And I said, oh, well, they were Titans. So, yeah, and what they were looking for is they were looking for a bridge to communicate with, believe it or not, you know who they were going to communicate with?
The Emerthas.
No. Just, you gotta throw this out there.
How far out there do I have to, all right, Queen
One of our group.
Queen
One of our group.
I was going to say
that we
Queen
talked to.
Shariah. Okay.
No.
No, Meetis.
No.
No.
They weren't looking for Meetis, although.
All right.
Meetis mentions it.
That's enough guessing games because that gets boring.
Oh no, it won't be boring. Tektron.
Tektron. Oh no, they're, oh, hey, yes. I've got something in this one as well, the Tektron universe. But, so they were looking for Tektron. Are they looking to go to his, are they like all perfected and they want to go to his universe?
No, but they apparently were disconnected from him and he was someone else.
Hmm.
My impression was Tektron is possibly another variation of Kraton.
Right. Is it like, is it like, you know how we saw Andronicus and his dark side merge?
Yeah.
And they were talking about you and your dark sides merging.
Yes.
And this presumably is a process that we're all going to go through.
Yeah, we're kind of merging together with another aspect of ourselves, but also in some reality, maybe it's like an alternate aspect of ourselves. So in some reality we're one way, in another reality we're another. And remember there was that weird separation between Meetis and Andronicus early on. Do you remember that? Where Meetis actually looked like Andronicus early on?
Do you think Meetis and Andronicus are two fragments of the same being?
Or they were like brothers or something. Remember that? It was way back, and I didn't, still to this day I don't fully understand it, but it had to do with during Neptune. The time of Neptune, and when there was that infraction where they kind of got onto Zamfir's domain and kind of messed things up there, and then Zamfir
did donuts on his lawn. Yes.
Yeah, Zamfir has a strange reality that he can come out with, and anytime he's involved, there's something strange happens. And something strange happened today too. When I was just mentioned his name, I could literally feel my body shift. So he has a very odd effect on things, and so I was just reflecting on that with Meetis and Andronicus. So Andronicus, remember, was pulled from Neptune, brought on a spacecraft, and then he encountered Meetis, just who was giving him a hard time and complaining and telling him his disdain for him. And then Borkum kind of rescued Andronicus out of there, but he moved him forward in time. So,
wow, I wish I could remember all the whole story of what we've been doing, but all I remember is like
so
these panic moments. It's like, am I going to get this voice right? That's the kind of stuff I remember.
Yeah, I know. You should really sit back and listen.
Wouldn't it be nice if I had enough time to listen to it all? Yeah, that'd be really nice. I could.
Well, that was way back. That was early. Yeah. Remember, we're like in the 60th. It's like watching so much of Star Trek, and people say, well, do you remember this one? And there's like a few of the shows that really stand out. And in this case, like I said, because it's channeled, sometimes people will say, oh yeah, do you remember you wrote this? And I'm like, I did. And I'll look and I'll start reading and it's like, yeah, I did. And well, what did that mean? And then I have to look at it and then I have to ask them, just to get the information correct. But, anyhow, there's this other aspect. So I'm thinking now, I'm not positive, but I'm thinking that Kraton is the future, in the future, is possibly Tektron. Which would explain, remember, he was angry because everyone was in the foundations, messing around with the quantum field. And now he's kind of off and has a different attitude. I don't know how this all happens. All I know is they were looking for him, and they were looking for the bridge. They were actually kind of calling me the bridge. And then they started mocking me, calling me the Rainbow Bridge, because I had bright colors on or something. I don't know.
Ha ha ha! You know what the Rainbow Bridge is?
Yeah, it's the bridge with the. It's like the ancient Nordic Norse stories.
Well, there's lots of things that are called the Rainbow Bridge. The one the word I'm just trying to remember the Sanskrit, Antakarana, and it's the stream of energy that leaves the back of your head and joins to each of the chakras in your body.
Okay.
Each one with a different energy passing through it, different ray. So it becomes looking like a rainbow bridge that goes behind your back, like a fin.
Well, it's kind of written in lore, and also some people call the rainbow bridges where animals pass over.
Because that's what Dave used to talk about, that he used to see his dogs going over the rainbow bridge.
Yeah. So they were kind of playing with me, saying that I was their bridge to Tektratron, obviously, because I talked to Tektratron, and they were trying to reconnect with him and asked me to connect there. I don't even know if they got connected or not, because then they disappeared. But they came in with they had helmets on, like space helmets, and called themselves the Gorgons or Gorgonians. And I don't know, maybe they're messing around with me. But all I know, I can hear their voice. They're looking for Tektratron, and seem to want to just report to him or give him some insight. Maybe they, just were a part of him.
A masculine energy?
Yeah, they were masculine, and I think they said something about you, and I can't remember what it was.
Oh, they mentioned me on the way, huh? By the way. Interesting.
Well, they think you forgot who you are, or forgot, what the mission was, or whatever they're, I don't know how I get in the middle of all of this. I just don't know.
Neither do I. I mean, people are listening to this thinking we all agreed to this kind of whole thing, and we know what's going on, and it just unfolds day by day, week by week, message by message. It's like, oh, that's what we are. Oh no, that's what we are. I mean, the other day, Simon Parks in his show, really laid out what we're here to do. I mean, it was a really good show, I have to say. If you get the chance to listen to the Simon Parks, Connecting Consciousness, there's only one in October because he was away for the first one. So it was a really deep, there was really, what's the word? A juicy vibe to it. It was really some good stuff in it. And part of our mission.
What did he say? What did he say is our mission here?
If only I could remember it, But he did. It's like part of the.
Because Audrius, he shares information of why we're here, and maybe we're going to bring him in after we do the transmissions and see what he has to say about what humanity's doing here, aside from the fact that it's time for us to awaken and ascend, and maybe he has some other insights along those lines. He seems to have an understanding from another perspective that we don't. So that's a good question.
My feeling is that we are here to everybody's got their own mission, right? And the things that present to us day by day, people that come to us or phone calls that we get, each one is an opportunity to do what we do. Even if you think, I'm just needing to call the man at the bank. There's an interaction there that is really necessary. And you might not guess it at the time, but 7 years down the line, you bump into them in the supermarket and they're dressed completely differently, and they say, you remember that time when you had that phone call, you said something and it got me thinking, and I started researching, and I've dropped the whole thing, and I understand that everything that do you understand what I'm saying? That you have no idea. We have no idea that in our daily lives, our regular, apparently mundane lives, we're not creating magic all the time, just with every single word that we say. The more soul connected you are, the more your words will be sparkly, full of holograms and ideas and inspirations for other people. Ooh, where did that come from?
Well, I think I'm being sparkly a lot these days because it seems like a lot of things have been happening, and people are finding some insights. I think there's the advantage of being very open and hearing on different channels. There's also a heartache where I was sharing with a friend today. I was in tears because sometimes people such as myself who are very open can see some very horrible things as well, and it's hard to take in that information. It's a mixed bag, you don't just get to choose, like a TV, just to turn it off. It's whatever appears. And if there's something in a lot of pain, someone in a lot of pain, and they're trying to release, or if you're going into the darker spaces of the planet or elsewhere, or even a memory of the past of some kind of horrible event, you get a glimpse of that, whether you like it or not, especially when you're doing a private session. And someone has a past life, a karma, I see the movie of it. And that information needed to be released into the universe some way or another. There's been one or two times, particularly one that I knew of, that had to do with mistreatment of a child, and I completely shut it down and walked away, and I couldn't do a session with this woman who was just trying to resolve a memory and a fear, a phobia. It had opened up to that from her previous life, and I just fell apart. I couldn't observe it, but it doesn't happen very often. I think as time has gone on, I've learned to take it and objectively look at it. But in that occasion, it was, there's a few times where this is too overwhelming. I can't deal with it. So I think at times the ones that I'm working with try to make my world a little brighter, and they'll do silly things, and that's why I welcome when Meetis comes in to talk, and he'll make me laugh, or someone else that someone that's there to kind of comfort me and help me to see through some of these things. Like Rhodan had a magnificent message today that at least really spoke to me in a lot of ways. And I'm looking forward to sharing that with everyone. And, of course, I got some insights from Meetis today as well. So,
Interesting.
Yeah. What part, JP?
Well, what I was hearing is that your level of sensitivity of experience, it's like maybe a couple of years ago it was like you were sort of looking at pictures, and then a year ago you're looking at videos, and now you're in a full immersion and you can like feel everything.
No, I was actually the first time
because that's my experience, by the way.
Yeah, no, the first time I opened up, it was a full-out movie, and first time I accessed the Akashic Records, I was probably in my early 30s, and a full movie screen opened up inside my head, and I was watching it, and it wasn't just a random movie, it was my movie. It was me in a previous life getting murdered, and that was my introduction to it.
Right.
That's when I realized there's something different here. So I do have varying degrees of clarity. Sometimes I see colors, and it's just like I'm sitting in front of a movie. Other times it looks more like black and white, but there's still a movie going on. and I don't know, it's different grades of film, you know. I don't know any other way to say it, but it's been like that for a while. And sometimes it's more shadowy, more blurry, depending on, maybe, I don't know what the reason is.
Do some of them make you stop breathing?
Yeah.
Like, they're shocking.
Yeah, well, I did a session for this woman once, and I was breathless watching a pharaoh swing on a woven swing. And it was so clear, and I just watched him. And I don't know which pharaoh it was, but I do remember that every historian in the world would be envious of what I had seen. Or anyone that loves the Egyptian life, you know, because I just looked there and I watched him, and I said, it was so cool. And there was there's no history books to write down some of this stuff. I know people question the Akashic records and that it was brought in, or it's been interfered with and meddled with, and that we're not really seeing the truth of it, or that, you know, there's some kind of tampering that's been going on. But in my opinion, the stuff that I'm seeing, it doesn't look like anything tampered. It looks like it's authentic, and it's what really happened. And then I have to step back and get my head out of what I was told in history and just forget about what I was told in history and just observe it without any preconceived notions. And so when I'm writing some of the stuff down, there's no there's no history on a lot of it. How much of it's true, I don't know. It all feels true at the time when I'm writing it down, or I'm sharing it, or I'm seeing it. Now, is it in our timeline? That I don't know. Some of it is, some of it isn't. That's where it becomes on a level of what might appear to be fantasy. And to try to decipher between the two. You know, when I interact with Meetis, I feel like he is actually in England at a specific time. I rarely see him outside of England. And when I see the landscape around him, I try to figure out the time period. He doesn't always tell me. But it's almost like he takes a moment and talks to me, tells me what's going on, and then we separate. Rhodan can be anywhere. Rhodan's so lofty. I mean, he could be somewhere out in the stars. And the first time I saw him, it was a most powerful feeling. I mean, it was so powerful. I felt like I wasn't even supposed to see him. His energy had definitely a deity type of feeling, like, wow, I just entered this space and I wasn't supposed to be there.
Holy of holies.
Yeah, but wasn't trying to be holy. He was just being him. And in time, when he communicates with me, he's removed a lot of that, so I don't have fear when I'm around him. And Andronicus is a very unusual energy. It's almost like a frequency. It's very, very different. He can be in a lot of different places. He's also very, very powerful in a lot of different ways. And has his, I want to say moods, but he can go into a very contemplative state, and he can go into a very mathematical kind of scientific way about him, and then there's times where he's just very earthy, you know, kind of really into who's there, and very engaged in who's there, and taking in all that experience.
Yeah, he's probably got a fifth-rate personality.
He really likes being around others. He doesn't like being a recluse. It bothers him.
Right.
He's very group-minded.
But at the same time, he likes plants and is interested in botany and all of that sort of stuff. So that's a sort of solitary activity. So that probably is his dichotomy, to be around people or to be around plants.
Yeah, yeah. And he's very loving. When he's engaged with someone, he's, even in romance, he's very engaged with them. He's not, and he's married, he's very much into it. There's an intensity of his personality, but he's not overbearing. But, he's the type of person, if you're having a conversation with him, you've got his full attention.
Yeah. He pays good attention.
Yeah. He's not full of himself at all. He's, has a humility about him, but, he doesn't like to be slighted. So that part of the ego, it definitely exists, but, who doesn't feel that way? Even the highest, of beings that I've encountered, have a way about them that, no one wants to be slighted. And, no one feels that they're deserving of that, especially if they're engaging. Borkum, I just can't contain his energy. I don't know what to do with it. I don't know. He's the guy that's just too big for the room, just not like size, but there's something about him that's loud even when he's not loud.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, that's Brian Blessed all over. The actor that I base his character on is like, that's how he is, larger than life.
Yeah.
Like,
and not everyone can handle him all the time. It's almost like he not wears out his welcome, but just like, you have to take him in doses.
Yeah, exactly. Small doses are good, like a tonic, but you wouldn't want to drink tonic all day.
Right.
Oh, bless his heart. Bless his heart.
He's likable. He's probably the guy that a bunch of guys would like to go out with and have a beer, and he would be the life of the party. You'd meet a million people that you would never meet without him.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Everybody would know him.
Everyone would know him. Yeah.
But he's, like I said, he's not for this time either. He doesn't belong in these times so much. Well, not in these, I don't know. Maybe he does. Maybe Borkum could be Donald Trump, couldn't he?
No, he's not a Donald Trump.
Who would be a presidential level, Titan? I suppose.
Presidential.
Yeah, should we have Rhodan for president? bring him in.
If Rhodan was president, there'd be a lot of checks and balances and everything. Because he's about balance and equilibrium. He is very intelligent, but he's also someone who likes to have order. But he's very philosophical too. Andronicus could be a president. Andronicus for president.
Write in, people. Andronicus is only 500 people will vote for Andronicus. Write in, but
clean up the environment.
That's right. He'll clean up the environment. Put everything in. He's got all his priorities right. He's had plenty of experience.
He might have a few affairs. He's
had his sex scandals, one or two, over the years.
Yeah.
But then, that's a presidential model, isn't it?
It is. That's why I was saying. And of course we have Dryden too now. So I don't know. I don't know Dryden well enough yet to.
Well, see, Dryden. He's based on another Babylon 5 character who's the Prime Minister on Alpha Centauri. And he's
That's
a fussy little man. A little skinny, fussy little man who just does what he's told.
he wouldn't do what he's told.
No, but this character, yeah.
Yeah. Dryden's very much in control of what's going on. He's well, you'll see what Meetis has to say about him is another level of understanding with Dryden.
So what about Dryden? What is his? Is he a Titan? Where's he from? What is he?
I think he's like an elven, like he's in Middle Earth, a Hollow Earth being,
I see.
or from one of the earlier beings that were here on the planet. Been here for a very, very long time, but can manifest like the Tua Dedanen,
I think.
Yeah, he keeps on. I believe when you went to Ireland, he came over here. That's about the time when I saw him.
Oh right. So this is one of these guys that I've woken up, is it?
Maybe, yeah.
It's all my fault.
That's your fault. And I'll tell you, Meetis is not happy with it.
Oh, well, yeah, I suppose. Yeah, because, it's too much competition really, because, well, maybe Meetis needs a bit, well, who's to say, but what he should be doing, but maybe Meetis needs a bit of a change in character, a bit of rebranding.
He's objecting right now, by the way, as you're saying that.
Oh, bless.
And the dog's barking.
And the dog's barking. All right. Well, look, we have to move forward.
I know we do.
We have to move forward, and we can't look back and say who's to blame and well, it's all that stuff. So, I'm sorry, Meetis, my lord, but you have to find a way of having a higher perspective on this.
He said that you don't know what you're talking about.
I know I don't know what I'm talking about. I really never do. So.
Well, he means in regard to his life and what he needs.
Yeah, all right, what I need. I know, well, people tell me what I need.
Yeah. He said something like, go play your fiddle elsewhere or something.
All right, we'll change the subject away from
Meetis.
From Meetis. All right, we'll leave you alone. Gosh. Now they're starting to answer back as we're speaking. This is far too weird.
Welcome to my world.
Welcome to Jessica's world, yes. A very
Land of nowhere.
But it's a very responsive universe. Everything talks back to you. It's a bit like, one of these sort of Disney World things where you walk through the forest. Sort of like
walking down the street and then the plants kick you.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Well, look, we actually all love Meetis, even though he's a rogue. So, we just want the best for him. We want him to be happy. Because it's like that song, when you're smiling, the whole world smiles with you.
Yeah. Yeah, he threw a daisy at you. I think that means he's gonna send something to you.
All right. Not Daisy, please. Anybody but Daisy. Crazy Daisy, the local psycho. I haven't seen her for, months. I'm not kidding. She's really intense. She's really intense, and she latches onto you and nobody lets go. You're like, I gotta go now. What better than all things? People. People.
Well, maybe it was a daisy, maybe it wasn't. It was a white flower. It was a white flower, and actually a few petals came off of it when he threw it at you, so.
Change it to Eric.
Playing with you, Eric. Yeah, I was talking to Audrey about Eric. We were laughing about how you've taken on your own alter ego.
I've got my own alter ego, kind of all in a little box here. That's very funny.
Yes.
Hang on. Eric, are you there? Yeah, the, got a problem with the mic though. Crackly crack. Hey, let's try again. Eric, are you there? Well, I don't know what that's all about.
So, Eric, this is Eric from the planet Eric.
The Eric Collective.
And he's related to other Erics.
Yeah, well, there's only one. They're a collective, so they're all called Eric.
Well, it's like the silly one, who was it? We figured out the immerser, that was Gary. The immerser.
Gary,
that was coming around and playing games with me with the blue bathrobe.
I was thinking about it. It's Gary the Grey, isn't it? Gary, G-A.
Grey, yeah.
Yeah. So, any bathrobe news? Because this is like a little meme that when they're talking about things, it's like there's a bathrobe.
It's very Hitchhiker's Guide.
Very much. Arthur Dent.
Yeah.
Very
Arthur Dent wearing the bathrobe, although this bathrobe is a blue bathrobe, right?
Mm-hmm.
And,
right.
Gary kept on bringing it up. I said someone's mocking me, and I was very upset and almost in tears, and then I realized it was Gary, and he apologized. He said he didn't mean anything by it. And I said, okay, Gary, he's just trying to make me laugh. And that's what they're silly. Don't take life too serious. Everyone has their sorrows and hardships. And don't take life too serious. That's what he was saying to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good use, good information right now, because everything's very serious. You know, everybody's going, oh, I mean, Syria.
Yeah.
The place that is called Syria, where people are serious and probably something to do with Sirius as well. And Orion and all that stuff. But, there's so much pressure at the moment, and people are getting very snarky with each other, and it's very important to remain, just keep breathing, to keep doing that breath,
Yeah, stay in control. Yeah. Don't lose your cool and things. There's a lot of illusion still, so try to see through it, and things are kind of working their way out. Do your spirit work, pray for the planet. You are being heard, and if we work as a collective, everything's going to be okay. And I had a discussion with Rhodan about it, and that's in the transmission if you want to.
Shall we segue into our transmissions?
Yes.
There we go. So, tonight's first transmission is from Rhodan. You shift from land to sea. Your thoughts are floating aimlessly. You look up to the sky for answers and into the depths for directions. Tell me, is there no virtue in the sun? Can one lay awake and measure the moments of time without becoming absorbed by them like a cascading water, forever drifting over rocks and pebbles and landscapes? You are the warrior of light, but feel as a speck of sand in an ocean of unending tides. The vastness of our universe is profound, even for us. It isn't until one awakes that one sees the immensity of all things. Yet, you calculate, measure, and decipher a mere moment in time in comparison to the many other moments in time that you missed or didn't see. Thus, another such as you sees their moments in time, and two of them align for that moment to awake and see and illuminate over that epiphany. Still, you are uninformed until many join in to share their light that illuminates, and now you have created a mere orb of truth, a collective awakening. Even still, you are not fully awakened as some might perceive or understand. The wave comes in like a tsunami, and you are immobilized into a false expression of hope. This wave shall not defeat me, you speak in your mind. It will not overcome my truth, my belief that I am one with the Almighty. Yet you shine in the face of a mighty wave, and exist. The wave comes and goes, and somehow you transcend into a vapor of thought, For that moment you leave your body, barely hanging onto a silver string that holds your soul essence to your vessel of truth, your physical form. In one instance you are powerless. You are merely a speck of light amongst an ocean of sunshine. However, when the difficulties arise, you become like a fortress and foreboding wall that is impermeable. When challenges arise, you discover the amazing resource and access to your own survival. Your life force energy, though small in scale to an immense force of nature on your planet, can outweigh anything when you choose so to exist, to thrive or survive. Why do so many of you hold back, cower in the face of challenges, quit before you realize your many potentials? Why do so many of you wait for others to determine your own destiny? Why do so many of you quit before your success comes in and your victory of scaling the mountain? You work and climb all your lives and stop just before you succeed and transcend. So many of you look for approval in others. No one understands your journey as it is unique to you. It is a wonderful journey of many truths, many insights and illumination if you stay the course. If you travel lightly, no attachments, you will discover that it becomes even easier. Yet, when it comes to the matters of the heart, there is a settling, an attachment that keeps us grounded and settled from within. All of these things are truths. When you are settled in, you bond with another and bring forth life, a child, a miraculous form of your essence and the blending of another. It is a beauty of fulfillment and discovery. Now you can see an aspect of being a creator, the gift of expression and essence that will exist beyond your time. Many of you see your children, your gifts, as a burden. You see them as a disappointment, a heartbreak, a cause of emotion. This is an expression of your own self-loathing, your own critical expression of yourself. When you are separated from that point of self-loathing, then you can see the expression of love, acceptance, understanding, patience and trust, that they are you and you are them. Your world has brought in all forms of complexities and circumstances to suffer in pain and sorrow. The separation from truth always brings pain and a void or absence of peace. Ultimately, my desire for you is to see all the immeasurable impossibilities you can acquire. Some of you are bordering on giving up hope. Those in control are losing their leverage, but you cannot see it. It appears to you that they are stronger than ever. Time and time again they have used this tactic to get you to quit, resign, falter, be in submission and give away your personal power. Now is the time to pursue, to dream, to stay the course as never before. They're still holding up illusions or false truths. They are presenting you with no other options than the old ways. Look in your hearts. There you will find your answers. The love and wisdom of all things reside within you. Be in peace and love. In this form nothing can harm you. Be liberated by the constructs and see beyond them. They are but a matrix set into your reality that you give credence to exist or obey, but carry no greater weight than a construct that you can build for yourself. What prevents you from being out from under this construct is fear. You hold on to what you know and don't dare to dream beyond it. Those who dream beyond it build empires and then begin to follow the same method but assert themselves as the oppressors, now taking in the prisoners to obey them instead of breaking the construct when it is within their own reach to do so. If they had broken the construct as they had promised to do when they requested the power to arise and ascend beyond the slave system, many would presently be free. So many have come to us for assistance to build, grow, and transcend past this matrix of control, and yet when enlightened to the truth beyond the construct, they all falter and never follow through with their commitments. Some will then appease a small aspect of their guilt through gifts and tokens and then return back to the slave system. This is not our system. We have not orchestrated a means of government that oppresses the people. We had brought forth ideals of truth in various points in time to allow humanity to keep themselves unburdened and freed from oppression. It is true, the Vinkala, Zeta Reticuli, Slitarin, Draconians and others have oppressed you and have taken from your resources. You are in a universe of multiple species and cousins of your DNA who desire what you have. However, your own people had established this caste system and the other species helped support it from contrasting circumstances of diversions to gain resources they required to traverse the universe. In essence, they needed your fuel and ate from your cupboard because of the selfishness and cruelty of other humans amongst you. There were, and always have been, systems in place for you to get free of these things. Begin searching within to see if this is not a truth. I'll tell you a brief story. It is a story of a man who chose to take the path into the light. He sought ardently for a way to bring his consciousness to a place where he was untainted by the selfishness and greediness of the world. He went into mountains and went along paths less walked upon and more remote locations to avoid humanity. At some point he realized that he would have to interact with humans out of necessity, and so he did all he could to learn to survive on his own. As days passed, he began to speak with the animals and became friends with them. More days passed, and he began to give them names, and in time call them his family. More time passed, and he began to look at the village below and thought it was nice to see he wasn't in the rat race, and as he watched them scurry to their homes, saw the fireplaces lit, and as it grew dark, he could smell the aroma of the food, the laughter and chatter of their conversations. The amber light coming from their windows created a warm glow, and he began to think about being there. Then he shook his head, relieved that he was not engaged in all that lifestyle. He thought within himself, I am free, unencumbered by the way people live. I don't live by the rules of the community. I don't need to be married. I don't need to have children. I don't need to have a job. I don't need to have a home. I don't need to have a community. So he fell asleep beneath the stars. The next morning he woke and observed one man getting up early. He was half-dressed and dishevelled and clearly tired but motivated to work. His wife ran out and gave him food. His children went to hug him and clung on a bit longer as he embraced and kissed each one, and suddenly he was awake, revived and restored to health. He seemed as if he was 10 years younger and laughed as he put a heavy shovel over his shoulder and walked with great strength. He continued to observe him throughout the day as he worked hard in the field. On his way back he bartered some fruit and from a local marketplace and some grain. Along the path he picked some flowers for his wife and came home to his modest house, and his wife and children were preparing the fireplace to cook some soup and warm some bread. He handed the fruit to his children, handed the flowers to his wife, and brought in the burlap bag of grain. He heard them laugh, and the children ran circles around the house, gaining his attention. Then the house grew quiet. The lights went out, and only smoke billowed from the homes. The man said in his mind, out of curiosity, I would like to get closer to these simple people to see why they're so happy. As he grew closer, a feeling grew in his heart. It was a longing to be a part of them, to be a part of their own community. The closer he got, the more his heart longed to go into one of the homes, until he discovered that one of the home's door was open. He was an old man, alone because his wife had passed and his children were grown and lived elsewhere. The old man gestured for him to go in, and he sat on a stump smoking from a pipe. He then gestured to the man to have some bread, that it was a bit dry and crusty, and a morsel of cheese. The man took from the man some food, and he savoured it. They talked about the land, the weather, and the people in the village. It was the best night he'd ever had, because for that moment he could see the value of the most simplest things. He could engage in thought and perspective unlike himself, and see what it was to be in the place of the old man. Despite the long experience of knowing so many things, the man thought, I have missed a lot because I spend so much time in the lofty places. but never looked at things from this perspective. The man in the mountain was me, Rhodan. The old man, named Josiah, is still my friend, and I enjoy his company every chance I get to see him. Sometimes it's the simplest things that bring us happiness. Don't ever miss out on the simple things. They're packed with love and fulfillment that one can never imagine or describe. You are all my friends. You are part of my village, and I love you. Blessings.
So that's Rhodan.
Wow. Hang on a second.
So.
Wow, that was very, very touching.
Yes.
I need some vitamin D. In place of having a cuddle from my children.
Yeah. I know, it was a beautiful story, and I was surprised in the end when he said it was him. Like he just thought he didn't need to be a part of it, and the more he watched it, the more he thought he wasn't observing a wealthy neighborhood or royal family. It was a really humble, simple village where people just did manual work and weren't very sophisticated, but had a lot of love and had a desire to survive. And so when he met with that man, he was very engaged, and it seemed to be healing to him. I think he's telling us not to miss the simple things of life, the obvious things.
Take the time to smell the flowers.
Yeah.
Even if they're daisies from Meetis.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Meetis.
Do you have another transmission?
Yeah, I sent you Meetis. Why don't we move right into Meetis so we can bring Audrey in?
Yeah. Let me just, no. Hang on. I need some nasal cavity for Meetis' voice, so please cover for a second.
Okay. Yeah, so Rhodan kind of threw me off. I think he was really engaged with what we're feeling now on the planet and what's going on with the presidential race. Can feel the anxiety of all people, and he's reminding us and encouraging us to be strong on the inside, to not quit, not give up, regardless of whatever any outcome is, to keep believing that we can change this construct and the imbalance of this caste system, or whatever it is that has been oppressive to us. I know we're feeling it in the U.S. Others are feeling it elsewhere in the world. And we just would like to see this all changed. We would like to see everything go back to the way it should be, where everyone's treated fairly and where people have a living wage and they're free to do as they choose. And there's less government, and people are learning to, take back their responsibilities, but also their freedoms. They both go hand in hand. And, for whatever reason, the way that things are, much of it's an illusion, he was reminding me of. So to continue moving on in our manifestation and realities of seeing past these constructs and seeing new realities come in, and they're willing to help us to rise above and to, put the financial means into our hands if we manage it well and not just perpetuate that old system, but to do the right thing with it and empower others with it. Maybe create communities that are a place where more people want to live rather than people feeling burdened by their homes that they can't live. So, JP, you still there?
Community. I mean, again, there's a whole load of triggers in Rhodan's thing that just like, community. We want to be with our people. Everybody wants to be with their people, and it's like everybody's been kind of thrown into a blender and mixed in with all the other people. It's like, I don't know. Yes, it could create a ghetto-like situation if it was oppressive, but if it's not, it's like there's the clan of those, there's Clan Dronicus, and there's Clan Meetis, and there's Clan Borkum,
Mm-hmm.
And people live harmoniously with their people and choose to live together. That's the idea of an intentional community rather than people who just happen to be land in the same area,
Yeah.
So, anybody wants to... I'm going to have to find some way of buying land.
It's going to happen, so don't give up that. I think he's encouraging us. Hold on.
Yeah, okay.
Because we're given these dreams and visions for a reason, and there's nothing to say that can't be our reality.
Oh, gosh.
So
Well,
in the
yeah.
illusion of breaking down the old systems, there may be a point where we're doubting anything good can happen, but actually these are opening the doors for the good to happen. They're canceling, the darker energies are canceling themselves out. We don't have to do a thing.
Yeah. Rats in a sack and let them stay in the sack. Just jump out of the sack. But here's the thing, my guides told me years ago that I would be known as a broadcaster, right? And that was when I was living in a trailer. I wasn't doing any broadcasting or anything, never done any. And they also have then described this community. So, that's also growing, and my experiences have built up an idea of what the community is going to do it's because it's a healing thing. It's all the people who live there are healers. Everybody's got a different aspect of healing, like some like body work, some like mind work, some emotional work stuff.
Yeah, and it's funny because I had some visions of what I was supposed to do, and I know that some of the stuff is supposed to be in a movie or it's supposed to be broadcasted somewhere. And I did a regression with someone, and I went into the future. I went into the future 2 years.
You did a progression.
And I said, progression, and I saw it happen. I said it happened. So likewise, I already see that village. I see that community that you created. It already exists. There's an overlay. And so it's part of the the old, this construct or the old construct can't block what we're manifesting because we're more in harmony with the universe than they are. And so they're going into it's fading out as ours is becoming more vibrant and more in manifestation and more in agreement with the quantum field and the atomic field. And so hold on to those dreams that you have. There's no such thing as it not happening. I mean, I thought it was unattainable to have a center, and here I am. I mean, me and a few others have a center.
I'm so pleased for you. I'm so pleased for you.
It happened though, JP, and I don't have a dime in my pocket, but it happened.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Big people think, oh, I need to start this, and I need loads of money, and like, where am I going to start? It doesn't have to be that way, and this is the new paradigm. It doesn't have to be. You have to, you want to start an enterprise, you have to go to the bank and ask them for money, and then you get, you're basically bankrolled into paying taxes for the rest of your being. And no, you don't have to do it. It doesn't have to involve any money. You know.
Oh, one way or another, I always have the food that I need, and I always have the gas that I need to go where I have to go, and I have a very old car, but I'm grateful that it's still working. And speaking of cars, we were going to see if anyone in the Arizona area has an extra car that they could give to Audrey. Audrey needs one to care for his daughter. And, there's different things like that we can bring up. But If people want to help out, or we're out there doing what we're supposed to do, and if they feel directed to help out, that's wonderful. Thank you. Very grateful, and come along with us. It could be that you have another vision and you follow that vision and dream and go into that reality. But remember, find what it is that you're supposed to do and do your part, and that what you're supposed to do is not what someone else is supposed to do or what someone else is doing. It might be an aspect of it that's similar, but this is your own path. So you really know what that is that you're supposed to do, and you'll have a lot of clarity on it. And of course, there's room for more than one center. The centers can be all over the place where people can come in and find a place where they can get healing and some assistance in their spiritual path. So,
I think
we're all doing.
it's a model. I think we're all developing a model for a community. Mm-hmm. How do people behave when you're not monks or you're not military? The aim that you have is not towards serving some state thing, but actually to serve the spirit of the planet that you're on, etc.
Or control others. It's no control. It's just a harmonious way to live off the earth, and find a way that you agree to do that. Whether that's creating a community garden, having some kind of water system, clean energy, and some way where there's a level of agreement, and nothing's going to be perfect, but there are people, like Earthlands as a model, and JP, you had your vision, which is very similar to that, and here again, like, I kind of wanted to bring Audrey in too, because I think he may have some insights on this as well.
So let's do some Meetis.
Okay.
Have a we've got half an hour left, and then we'll see what goes on. So that's so it's a substantial reading today. So Rhodan and Meetis are quite long things. Meanwhile, so anything you need to say before Meetis?
No.
Okay.
No.
Hello, my love, or should I say flower?
I was told by my friend Lucy that the name Sumer means moonflower.
Yes, you finally got it. That Lucy doesn't remember, does she? She thinks I'm a bit ill-behaved, but I know she loves everybody, so I'm still fond of her. She has a contagious way about her, light and happy as all of you should be. Tell me, have you met the Gorgons?
Yes. I couldn't believe they came to me. They are also the Titans?
Yes, it is one and the same. How do you get to engage with them? You are not in any power situation at all, and yet they go to you before me. I need to discover what secrets you have. I need to discover what secrets you've been hiding from me. Come now, Suma, stop holding out on me. Tell me what your secrets are. Where are the hidden gems of the breastplate I once had?
I don't know of any breastplate, Meetis. What does it look like?
Oh, gemstones of multicolours and cuts. They are brilliant and make me illuminate like the sun. I'll show you one.
Suddenly he flashed this brilliant red stone at me, and I knew it wasn't anything I'd ever seen before in my life. I've seen that red stone in my visions. Tell me about it.
So you are telling me the truth. That is interesting to me. Who are you, Suma, and how do you know so much but forget such basic things about humanity? You seem simple at times.
I don't know, Meetis. I don't know how I know what I do know.
The red stone has what you call magical qualities. It is brilliant, isn't it? I love holding it because it makes me feel like home. I can step into this vibration and travel to where I like to travel.
So is it a time travel device? You got it from Zephyr.
No, he has another stone that is purple that allows him into his own treasury and access to the nether parts of the planet as well as beyond to other regions of the galaxy. Don't awaken him. He has been asleep, and I haven't had many problems since he has been at rest. Tiptoe around a bit. Please don't awaken him. Could you feel the shift when we spoke about him?
Yes, I could feel a dimensional shift happen. when I just said his name. That was so odd.
Whatever you do, don't awaken him or you will cause me great distress.
I will be mindful of that, Meetis.
Anyhow, the red stone is also a red dragon in form. It is what we use for gateways into other dimensions. I have the red dragon. Shh, he, Samphir, has the purple. Another, your pesky friend Rhodan, has green or emerald. Another has orange. We suspect that is you, my love. Care to share your doors with me?
Meetis, how could you ask me for something like that? Do I really have an orange stone somewhere?
I would think you would know. You're a fairy or something like it. That's what Dryden said about you. He never lies. He might be a thorn in my side, but always tells me the truth, whether I like it or not. Typically, I don't like anything he says. By the way, he took my silk pants. I had them sewn specifically to suit my body type, and he stretched my knickers to an unseemly length. He's a crocodile, that Dryden. He wore out my shoes as well, punched a hole in my hat, stole my feathers on it, and put dirt on my striped jacket. He discovered where I hid my clothes under the bridge. There's nothing worse than a pesky fairy tampering with your chest of clothing. I'll have to teach him a lesson or two.
I don't think you would wear the same clothes.
Those silk pants he was wearing when he came to visit you? They were mine.
I thought they looked a little bit small on him.
Yes, and furthermore, he was wearing my shoes. They were newly fixed from the cobblers to make that clicking sound. I love the attention that I get when I wear them. Anyway, I caught him, I did. We shall see what happens now when I find him. Flower, you have to help me and not encourage him to be around. You are a flirtatious one. He will leave if he thinks you're not interested in him. That's the reason why I came to you. He didn't believe me.
Meetis, I don't even remember him. I really don't. Maybe faintly. He was a bit shy, actually, when he came here.
That is nothing but a farce, a lie, a deception. Let's be rid of him and send him back to Ireland. He never belonged here in England with me.
Well, I'm not there either, Meetis.
You are here often and only you don't realise it. I bring you here and so does he. I just decided to tell you about it.
What? Really? Are you kidding me?
It explains your strangeness, you know.
You mean the way I pulled out of the timeline and sent to other regions? And
Yes, you dress a bit odd at times and I don't know why. I bet steampunk is on your mind. We play with you. It is confession time. We play with you a lot. Keeps you going, my love. It will get better, I promise.
I don't mind it, I guess. Just let me know about the adventures or allow me to remember it.
Yeah, we do find you amusing. I saw you trip the other day. Dryden did it to you. He is pesky, that one. He saw that man looking at you and made you appear awkward. I wouldn't turn my back on that one. He'll make a fool of you if he has his way. I've been going stark raving mad over him. I do have some plans of retribution, you know. A little payback for his trouble. Put some bitter wine in his flask. We'll see how he fares after a dose of that. And I heard that, Meetis. Oh, so look who's walked through the door. Or should I say, what the cat dragged in. You will never outwit me, Meetis. I can see you're breaking under the pressure. Begone with you and your boring ways.
Oh, he just left again.
Yes, it's true. He seems to be everywhere. My love, I must go, and seems you're a bit late for your own show. Learn to sing like Primus. It will help you. Ta-ta! Here, Primus, a song for you. Right, hang on. Double space again, Jess.
I know.
Double space. Right, hang on, let's make this bigger. Try 16. Hang on.
Sorry. To me, the formatting doesn't look bad, so somehow it translates.
It's not that it's bad. It's just it's too high.
Okay.
The line space is you know, I know you're formatting it as a poem, but it goes off the top of my screen. I have to, and I can't. It's hard to change. you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I have to send it to you, in advance so you can format it because I don't know exactly how to.
Yeah, I think
Format.
that's good.
Those two.
It's
Okay.
happening. It's all right. I'm getting it. I'm on it. Ready.
Right.
Oh, Meetis. Long song. There we go. I'll do what I can. So this week, no capo. And hopefully back to 432. Yeah.
Right.
Right, here we go. Haha. Well, start in G then. I'll let you time. I'll page it down a bit. Feathers and flowers and Big Ben's towers, sea to sea, Atlantis cowers. We're at the end of an age, so now in time enters another sage. And the books released, the blessed feast, a friend or foe will be won, a pleasant family and beloved son, and a true test for all the best. But beside the sorrow will be a test. Can many last the test of time? Can many beat me at my rhyme? A prison cell, released from hell, no more to gain when tempest fell. For those of wise, the tempest whirls, look up again. The angels unfurl a mighty wind, a sound of kin, and love's defeat. The tempest of sins, be now alive to live in strength. Be strong within, for much to gain, and firmly new, a world unseen. Let wisdom share, and lights will beam. La la la, la la la. The lights will beam across the mighty waters. The water stream. A Thursday.
Yes.
A normal Thursday.
A normal Thursday. It's a good thing it's not a Tuesday.
Just as well. Just as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little, yeah. So, we'll see if Audrey is available to join us.
Let us see now.
And if anyone wants to contact me about, if they have any insight or ideas or donation or, someone has a vehicle to help with Audrey, contact me directly at jessica@readingsbyariel.com. That's readings by Ariel, ARAEL.com. And also if you're interested in a session with me, feel free to contact me.
I'm not getting him on that one. Let's try the other one. Okay, sorry.
All right.
Yes, Meanwhile,
Just,
oh right, yeah, he's online on that one. Okay, hang on. There we go. Skimmy-da-bum, skimmy-da-boom, skimmy-da-boom. Sounds like a recap of sorts. Yeah, so, just having a look. some kind of. I'm just having a look at this at the chat room there. Ditto, those pesky feelies. Dryden and Meetis. Paul saying Dryden Meetis a dance off. Good afternoon, Adri.
Ah, there we go. Sorry, I'm getting my earphones on.
Hello, Audrey.
Hello.
So,
Okay.
are you,
I'm
all
sorry,
set
I had
up?
to stop the radio broadcast in my ear.
Oh,
There we
okay. All right, good.
How are you?
Very good. And, we were talking, we had a question early on in the show, didn't we, JP?
We did.
It
It was a couple of hours.
and now I'm trying to remember what it was.
What
It
was the question?
I mean, I think we're under a lot of distress right now. I think, we have the election coming up and people are uncertain about what's going on and we don't have to go in a political sense, but typically, there's always been challenges in the world, right? And so the question is how do people what's the best way to manage it? We know that meditation is really important and there are other things that we need to implement in order to keep us going. And how do we support others in the process?
Well, we were talking, I should say you were talking about an Ubuntu system essentially without money.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than focus on who is going to be elected in office and such, I think that what should be focused on is how to manage a post-monetary system. I think people would be better placing their energy into focusing on ridding of money rather than how to manage it.
How do they survive then, Audrey? I mean, we talked about communities. JP and I were talking about, his vision of having a community there in Scotland. I know people that have communities around here. They have farms. They have other ways of, living. But, in the region where I live, it gets pretty cold. And, the growing season is not really long. It's not year round.
So you create a greenhouse. So you create a greenhouse where you can grow crops in colder regions all year round. That's something that we do in colder places and colder planets within our system. So, for instance, on Urga, there are some areas of that planet where it does get colder, like near the poles, and we have a lot of our cities are floating, and they migrate up there, but we have within those cities, we have greenhouses where we can still grow crops, we can still grow things, we can still engineer things, we can replicate cells within an environment where it's conducive for growth. So here in colder regions, establishing a greenhouse, and many greenhouses in fact, for crops to grow all year round would be ideal.
Mm-hmm. Hold on a second. Okay, take over.
So yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'm interested in an underground greenhouse.
Oh, like
Yes,
a root cellar.
Yeah, but also that has solar panels and LED lights to keep get the right frequencies for the plantings.
For underground facilities, you could have solar panels above ground and power UV lighting for the plants to be able to grow within an artificial environment.
Yeah. Yeah. And the LEDs to do the near UV lighting are very cheap nowadays. And they can be quite high powered. You mount them on a heatsink and they really fry your plants out. Get a good amount of UV in them, and they're also good to sit under. because it's like the sandlight.
Absolutely.
So a regular grow light. If people are get this sad depression from winters, get some grow lights for. If you can't afford a sad light, get some grow lights. They're really cheap on eBay, and then you get these little purple bulbs, and it's got exactly the right mixture that you need to feel happy again. Yes, low budget satellites. Yeah. Do you want to talk about quarks, photons, and ultraviolet light, Audrey?
Sure, ultraviolet light is just a higher frequency of photoradionic waves, and the plants are receptive to this through their chlorophyll within their cells. Creates photosynthesis, which allows them to produce energy in order to survive. They also get a high level of vitamin D from the sun. This is one thing that you would have to implement artificially in plants because the artificial UV lighting wouldn't deliver this element. So plants under artificial UV lights don't always flourish the same as they would in sunlight because of a lack of vitamin D. So you can actually put that into the soil and they'll absorb this, or put it into the water and feed it to the plants. And they'll grow under artificial UV lighting with vitamin D as much as they would out in the sunlight. And they will be just as healthy.
What about, I'd like to know what people should do regarding travel. So we're very, very dependent on fossil fuels for heat, for travel. What is our future? What are our options to get away from all of that?
Wireless electricity through the ether. Nothing will have to run on batteries anymore. Nothing would have to run on fossil fuels. You wouldn't have to be polluting the atmosphere with carbon monoxide by burning coal. You wouldn't have to deplete oil reservoirs in the ground through fracking and other methods. You wouldn't have to cut down trees. You'd be able to operate all of your devices completely wirelessly like Wi-Fi. They would absorb the electricity from the air itself, from the ether. So this is something that all vehicles can and will eventually survive on here within the planet.
Do we need transmitting stations though?
Looks like we got an interruption in the field.
That's what yeah. Well, just as an aside, because they never like us talking about energy, because free energy is like, we mustn't let them have free energy. We have to make them pay. But
can you imagine that right in the air? Yeah.
Yeah. But here's the thing: a pyramid is what Wardenclyffe is. Wardenclyffe Tower, the thing that Tesla created. Yeah. That's what a pyramid is. It's a way of getting a big metal thing up in the air.
I was just going to ask him about hydrogen because I've been hearing that. My guides have been bringing up hydrogen cells. And I was like, well, how is that going to work? I don't have a science mind, and a lot of this stuff goes right up over my head. And I'm not apologizing for that. I don't have a strong interest in it, and I felt that others, if you do have a strong interest in it, good for you, but it's not something that I wanted to delve into heavily. When you have, here we go, Audrey's coming back.
Yeah, so hydrogen cells, is that to produce hydrogen from electricity to run a car engine? That's a kind of halfway phase between, because it basically runs on water.
Audrey, we were saying that as soon as you got cut off, amazingly, at the point where you started giving information about clean energy. So I've been hearing hydrogen cells, and I don't have a science or math mind, anything of that nature, but I do hear whatever is going on. Now, is that a part of this?
That is one of many methods of acquiring free energy. you have to understand that all air has a level of moisture in it, so you can actually capture hydrogen atoms through water. Using electrolysis, you can separate the hydrogen atoms directly from the oxygen. And through that, you can channel the hydrogen, which is much lighter than the oxygen, through tubes and separate it into a separate chamber, thus also channeling that through a carburetor right to an engine. It'll burn much cleaner.
Mm-hmm.
Your output is oxygen and water that comes out of the tailpipe.
So there's no depletion of anything, because even with this larger population on the planet right now, they could all extract this energy without any repercussions.
Absolutely. So what happens is that when the water comes out of the tailpipe, it evaporates anyway. It goes back into the air, to which you would have your hydrogen producer, your water collector, collecting water directly from the air, once again harvesting the water that has already been evaporated back into the air due to the heat from the exhaust pipes. And this would recycle the water, turning it once again back into water, separating it through electrolysis into oxygen and hydrogen, and once again gathering the hydrogen into a separate collection tank.
What about more arid regions? Would that be a problem?
No, they all have moisture to some degree in the air. So it would just be a matter of tuning your collector to be able to absorb more moisture from the air when it's more dry. There's always a level of moisture in the atmosphere. It's another ocean of water you don't take into account here on this planet.
Is this available to us right now? Anywhere that, or any type of...
Something that, if not, it's something that can be very easily invented.
But you're not aware of anything that is on the market right now that
I think I saw one last week.
That is capable of doing this?
I've seen water collectors that take the moisture from the air and convert it straight to water into a collection tank for people to drink. You could use that same principle to do the very same thing with engines. You would always have a collection of fuel. Your fuel is water. So if your vehicle is depleted in a more arid region, all you have to do is just stop and let your water collector collect the moisture from the air and allow that moisture to condense into a container. And from there, reuse it again. Once you have enough water, you can start firing on your engine after it separates enough hydrogen. Now the pressure has to build up enough for it to be usable within the carburetor. But you can reuse all of these vehicles that are running on gasoline, convert them into water electrolysis, hydrogen-based combustion engines. And they'll not only run cleaner, but the engines will be more efficient. You could get, if you have one of these collectors constantly collecting moisture from the atmosphere as you're driving, you could get easily up to 2,000 miles to a gallon.
Wow.
Because it will constantly be renewing itself as you are driving.
That is remarkable.
So
without any...
the most you would have to do if you ever use your vehicle is merely just park it and let it sit until enough water is collected again. You wouldn't have to stop at a gas station to refuel.
That's like letting it rest for a little while. What a good
Yes.
idea. So, talking of resting for a little while, we're now back up to the top of the second hour, Jess. So, shall we top off this show and bring in Viking and anybody else who wants to come in?
Yeah, I mean, Audrey, so you're going to come on to going on to the next show, the Interstellar Council. And this will give you a little bit of a break and come back in for the second hour. I think that's what Viking wanted to do.
Yes. He wanted to have his show for the first hour, and then I'll join in the second.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll be talking to all of you again shortly.
Thank you, and thank you for sharing some. I think your ideas are so brilliant that I want people to just really focus in on what you had to share today. Give them some ideas and some hope for the future.
Absolutely. Free energy is not so far off. We already have the technology to develop it. The only thing respect is oh.
They completely mangled that.
Yeah, they
Thanks, Audrey, but they completely mangled that. Listen, we got to go.
Yeah.
We'll be on the other side.
I will, more than I'll more than read. Okay.
Are you able to say it real quick again? They just cut you off.
I was saying that the only problem preventing us from being able to do that is the cabal and money. Your solution is to get rid of money. Then you can do all of the free energy you want. All of this technology is easy to develop here.
Okay. Are we on that path right now?
We're working on it.
Okay. All right. Well, blessings to everyone. I will see you next week. Thank you for joining us in Answers from the Universe and the Andronicus transmissions. Thank you, Audrey, so much for coming in the last portion, and thank you for everyone who was patient while I delayed in my transmissions today. Thank you, JP, as always. You're wonderful. And we will see you in the next hour. Next 2 hours.
We came from the future.